In crypto, things move fast, and right now there is nothing, and I mean nothing, hotter than the AI narrative. So today, we're going to dig into Phala Network PHA, a project that's been getting a ton of attention by planting its flag right where AI and Web3 meet. So what is actually driving all this hype? Let's find out.
This quote just nails the whole situation perfectly. On one hand, you've got this massive, powerful wave of excitement around AI. But on the other, you have the market, which is always going to be a little cautious. We're going to look at both sides of that coin.
All right, first things first. What is Phala Network anyway? Well, at its heart, it's a decentralized cloud computing network. But here's the twist, and it's a big one. It's built for privacy, which makes it perfect for heavy-duty stuff like AI.
I mean, think about that for a second. Phala is trying to answer that question. It uses this special hardware called Trusted Execution Environments, or TEEs. The easiest way to think about them is like a secure black box inside a computer's processor. This means that even the person who owns the computer can't peek inside and see the data being crunched. For anyone working with sensitive info, that is a game changer.
Okay, so we've got the foundation, but what exactly lit the fuse for this recent surge? Well, when we looked into it, it really boils down to three key drivers that all kind of came together at the perfect time.
So we're going to look at a huge tech shift they made, then some classic market movers, and finally, and this might be the most important part, actual proof that people are really truly using this thing. Let's kick it off with the tech.
And let me be clear, this wasn't some small software update. This was a complete overhaul of their entire architecture. Moving a whole blockchain is a massive deal, and it shows they made a very deliberate choice to link up with the biggest ecosystem in the crypto world.
So, what does moving to an Ethereum L2 actually mean? Okay, think of it like this. If Ethereum is a busy highway, an L2 is like adding a new super-fast express lane. Phala gets to do things way faster and cheaper, but it still gets all the security and, this is key, the giant network of developers, users, and money that comes with being in the Ethereum universe.
And this wasn't a snap decision either. It was a carefully planned move. They beefed up security, they did the big migration, and then they officially put the old code to bed. This just screams long-term strategy, right? They're positioning themselves for a much bigger stage.
Now, having great tech is awesome, but how does it actually connect with the market? Well, people have to be able to buy and sell the token easily, and that's where our second driver comes in, those big market catalysts.
And wow, the Bithumb listing is a textbook example. When Phala got listed on this major South Korean exchange, the effect was immediate. A 30% pop in one day, and the price more than doubled over the course of the month. That's what happens when you open the floodgates to a huge regulated market. But what's really fascinating is what the data showed after all that buying. We saw more PHA tokens moving off of exchanges and into private wallets. Now, that's often seen as a really bullish sign. It suggests people aren't just in it for a quick trade, they're buying to hold on for the long haul.
So we have the tech, we have the market access, but here comes the billion-dollar question for pretty much any crypto project. Is anyone actually using it? Well, for Phala, the answer seems to be a resounding yes.
This number right here just cuts through all the noise. Over 1 billion, with a B, LLM tokens were being processed every single day back in March on just one platform using Phala. That's not a theory. That is real, measurable demand for what they offer.
And that demand is coming from real companies building real things. You've got Venice AI using Phala for private AI work. Laz AI is using it to secure AI wallets. This puts Phala right smack in the middle of two of the biggest trends out there, DePIN and AI.
So with all that good news, you'd think it's a simple, straight-up story. But come on, the market is never that easy. Let's take a more balanced look at the price and some of the conflicting signals out there. It really is a classic tug of war. On one side of the rope, you have this incredibly strong story about growth and real use. And on the other side, you've just got the cold, hard realities of the market, people taking profits, and of course, external risks. So, let's break down this tug of war. In the bullish corner, you have everything we just talked about, the killer AI story, real-world usage, big exchange listings, and the smart move to Ethereum. But you got to look at the other side too. Some analysts are saying the recent price jump was a low-volume bounce, which can be a bit shaky. Of course, you're going to have people taking profits after a 50+% rally. And then you've got prediction models like Wallet Investor that are just incredibly bearish, calling for a huge drop. And finally, there's even a tech risk to know about, a vulnerability found in the Intel SGX hardware that Phala relies on. It's a really complex attack, but it is a risk that's on the table.
Okay, so keeping those risks in mind, what's the plan to keep this momentum going? What are they building next?
Let's take a look at the roadmap. The strategy seems pretty clear. They're doubling down on what's working. The whole goal is to make their secure computing network bigger, better, and easier to use, especially for big companies and AI developers.
And they're attacking this from 3 different angles. First, they're expanding to work with the big dogs like Amazon and Google, which could bring in huge new clients. Second, they're beefing up their AI and GPU power to handle even bigger jobs. And third, they're just making it easier for other developers to come in and build cool stuff on their network.
Which, of course, brings us to the final, all-important question. Phala has pulled off a massive tech shift, it's perfectly timed the AI wave, and it's showing real verifiable use. But it's also dealing with a volatile market and some real risks. It really seems like the future depends on one thing. Can this undeniable demand for private AI computing create enough value to power through the market noise and build something that lasts? That is the question the market is about to answer.